So some of you probably remember, some of you it may be a little foggy, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this guy. If you remember correctly, we did this before, but it's kind of been a while, right? This one you're going to need to explode. So I'm going to select on it. I'm going to hit the explode box, which is under erase there. And that's going to blow this thing apart. Now, there's a couple of ways you can handle this. At this point, what I could do is I could go ahead and move all of these pieces individually. Right? So I could move that guy up there like so. I could move the arrow, all that stuff. Some people will elect to move this before so that it's kind of where they want it. Again, that's totally up to you. If you want to move it, then explode it, that's fine. If you want to explode it, then move it, that's fine. It's really not a whole lot of extra work either way, but I'm going to explode this thing. And then if you remember correctly, I need to mirror these arrowheads. This is the part we haven't done in a while. So I'm going to click on the arrowhead, then I'm going to click mirror. And then if you remember on my command line, it's prompting me for a first and then eventually second point of mirroring. Okay, so I'm going to click on the end of this horizontal line, and then I'm going to click over here on another point. You could click the end, you could click the intersect, whatever it is. You just want to make sure that it's nice and flat. Otherwise, you'll get an arrow that's pointing in a weird angled direction. Okay, so you can kind of see it floating there, I hope. And as I rotate up, it's going to give me the ability to click again. And if you remember, it's going to ask you, do you want to erase the source object? In this case, I don't need an arrowhead facing the wrong way, so yes, I want to erase that source object. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom. So again, I'm going to select these parts. I'm going to go to mirror. It's going to ask me first and second point. And then of course, I want to erase the source. So that's going to look something like that. Okay. So that's going to be how I mirror that. And I think that should probably do it for craziness with the dimensions. This guy you could just pull out, right? Once you do it, just click on the grip. It will probably force it in or to the right side. You just want to pull it to the left. So that one should be pretty easy. But this one right here is one, again, we have not talked about this since assignment 1. If you remember, we had what they refer to as global precision changes. That's the dimension style manager, modify, primary units, precision. That's the thing that we typically do. But for these guys, they were all 2 decimal places, right? Except for this dude on the side. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on it to select it. Then I'm going to right click, and it's going to give me all this menu. And if you remember, the 4th one down is precision. And I want that one to be at 3 decimal places. So it's a little bit different. This is a local value. So global versus local. So that one's going to be changed slightly like so. Okay. And again, that should give you most of these values. It is important to put in this guy. And why is that important? Well, in this particular case, if you did not know that all of the fillets were 0.6 radius, then you could not possibly recreate this, right? Because that's pretty important information. It's given nowhere else except in that notation. So that note has to be reproduced in order to make this drawing make sense. Without that notation, none of this would be correct because of the fillets. So again, you could do it as a multi-line or single line text, however you want to handle that. But that note you're going to put in at the bottom, and it's simply going to say all fillets a radius of 0.60.
Excuse me. How come you don't see it on